back to my channel. Today I bring you a book tag and I'm so excited to do this. So, we are in quarantine. We have been in quarantine for a while now and things are interesting because of it. But I decided when all this started that we can still do some lemonade out of all these lemons, and I really wanted to get this book tag together, but inspiration didn't strike until a few weeks ago. So now here it is, and I have created this quarantine book tag because let's make the best out of this not so perfect situation. So I'm gonna be using my handy tablet because I have all the tags here, and let's get started. Okay, first, before I actually get started, remember this is in no particular order. I just put the tags together, and yeah, they don't have a particular order other than the one that it came to my mind. So there it is. Okay, Social Distancing, a book you came to appreciate more with time. And for this tag, I selected The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey, and this is the second book in the Fifth Wave trilogy, and I read it a long time ago. And I remember when I first read it, I hated what the turn the story took in that book, the plot twist that it had with everything that was going on. I hated it. I thought, I don't know, I hated how it was presented and everything, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. But time has passed, like 4 years, and I don't know, with time I have come to appreciate what it did. It's not so terrible as I first thought, and it's actually quite clever, and it gave the whole story an interesting turn. So even though I hated it when I first read it, I think it was okay, and I can appreciate what it did now. I don't love it, but I can respect it a lot more than I did when I first read it. Then we have Mask, a book that wasn't what it appeared, and for this I have Through Laya's Eyes, which is not a book, it's a comic, and it's just the synopsis was so misleading when I first read the synopsis of what the comic was gonna be, and what I got was nothing like what I thought it was gonna be, and I wasn't thrilled about it. I was not thrilled at all, but there you have it. It was definitely not what I thought it was gonna be. Then we have Stay at Home, a huge book you read in one sitting, and I have Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I did not read it in one sitting, I will admit to that, but I did read like more than half of it in one sitting, so I'm putting it here because it counts. Definitely counts. Read like, I don't know, 500 pages in a day. It was a lot, and it's a huge book. It has like almost 1,000, so I did great progress that day. I will count it. Wash Your Hands, a book you'll reread 100 times. For this, I have my absolute favorite book in the whole world, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and as I just said, it's my favorite book in the whole world. I love it with all my heart. I have already reread it like 6 or 7 times, so I will definitely reread it from this day, probably till I die or until I can't read anymore, because I love it that much. Then next one is Organize Your Room, a book series that has a rather confusing order to read, long series that have novellas and books that go and you don't know where to start. For this one, I decided to go with The Witcher by Andrzej Sapkowski. I may be butchering that because, yeah, Sapkowski. Well, thing is, The Witcher has 2 novellas that go before the first book, chronologically. In this case, in series, you always start with book 1 and then you read, I don't know, maybe the first book or a couple books and then go back to the novella. It's usually how it works. Well, in this series, you start with the novellas, which was rather confusing, and I almost started where I wasn't supposed to. So it's kind of confusing, if not utterly messy, but it's kind of confusing, so yeah. Binge watch Netflix, a book to TV adaptation that you will binge watch. Oh, there's some really good TV adaptations. I have to admit that. But I chose A Series of Unfortunate Events because it's such a fun adaptation. The coloring goes really well with the feeling of the books, and it's pretty accurate as well. So it's really fun to watch. And I don't know, it's just great, and it's really fun. And it's already finished, so that's points for it because you can see it all and know the ending and how it ends and everything. So I definitely will binge watch that again. Baking Goods, a fluffy book that you read recently. And for this one I chose Wish You Were Here by Rene Carolino, which I actually just finished a few days ago, so you're gonna see a review for that pretty soon. But yeah, it's a romance, fluffy kind of book, and yeah, it was nice, it was fluffy. Zoom conference, a reading community activity you've done recently. For this one, you know, you have readathons, buddy reads, 24 hours reading, stuff like that. And you know, we are in quarantine, so we need things to occupy our time. And I actually just finished a very long buddy read that I expended the last 5 months on. I was reading the Throne of Glass series with a few friends, and yeah, it took us 5 months, but it was so enjoyable and it was the best way to pass the time. I definitely loved it. Homeschooling, a non-fiction book that you read recently. I haven't read non-fiction very recently. I've been in a huge fantasy binge, which it's no surprise because I love fantasy, but I have read some non-fiction books, so I'm gonna mention the one that I read most recently, even that is not exactly a few weeks ago. But the book I have chosen is Girl on Pointed by Chloe Lukasiak, and this is an autobiography memoir that she wrote about, you know, her younger years on TV and in Dance Moms, I think it's called, and you know, all of that. So it was interesting to see the whole point of view in the dancing. I always loved dancing. I wish I could have learned it, but you know, such is life. And the last one, but not for that the least important, it's Work From Home, a book that was hard to finish. And it's funny because I actually did ended up enjoying the book, but it was really hard to finish, and that is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. And it's a long book for one, but that wasn't what was difficult for me. It was the whole format that I was reading it in, and I don't know, I had a lot of issues reading the first half of the book. So yeah, it was really hard. It took me like 8 months to finish the book. So yeah, that definitely qualifies. So that was my quarantine book tag, and I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun coming up with it and actually doing it. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and if you want to do it, go ahead. Just remember to leave a comment down below with a link for me to watch the video, or you know, hit me on Instagram so I can go and watch it there if you want to do it in Instagram or another media. But I would love to see you doing it because I think it could be really fun. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Bye!